Simple.
Yeah, I don't even know what we're doing. So.
Oh, we're going to start our interview right now with Cal Stevens. Pete, ask the man some questions.
Well, I guess my first question for Cal and Tina is, how long have you lived in Harris Park?
We've been here 4.5 years.
4.5
Mm-hmm. March 1st, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
14, huh?
so family, animals.
We moved here with 2 dogs.
Now we have one.
Now we have
Now you
one,
have one.
but we have 2 cats that we didn't have.
Hey, so it was Abby, right? The dog?
Yeah.
He's the dog.
Yep.
And then I guess what made you or what led you to Harris Park? To move.
We found a place to buy.
We were looking. We wanted to live in the mountains.
Yeah.
Affordability, you were saying?
Affordability
Yeah.
was key.
Yeah, we discussed that. I mean, and that's true. Yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing, I don't know, maybe I'm speaking for myself, some of the hobbies that I enjoy, the mountains are involved, is, what are your hobbies?
What do you guys get out and do in the community or in the mountain region where it's not work related or, you know?
Well, I hunt deer and elk. We enjoy just going for a ride out to the
Are you a
forest.
rifle hunter or bow
Yeah,
hunter?
rifle.
Rifle.
Yeah, I'm not sneaky enough to be a bow hunter.
Yeah, it's just a certain skill, that's for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we just enjoy being in the mountains. I've always wanted to live in the mountains my whole life, and finally got the opportunity. So here we are.
Man, agreed. I'm sure those are the exact words I said in my interview too.
Mm-hmm.
Just, man, the opportunity was a heaven sent.
To just watch the weather through here, to see.
Phenomenal.
One time I was standing on the porch and a storm was coming in this way and it sounded like a freight train coming through the trees.
Man, that's so crazy
It
you
was
say
just
that.
awesome.
Before I moved up here, I was working on the place, just so we could move in. And I was telling Pete,
Yeah, you ran inside or something like that.
I spooked myself. I got done laying some tile at 1 something in the morning, and I had stepped out front onto the deck and had a seat, and what I heard was a wind off in the distance, but it was literally coming towards my house so quick that by the time it got to my house, everything was moving and it sounded like a freight train, just like you said.
This one
I got
had hail
spooked
with
and
it.
ran back
Yeah.
inside.
I did too. I didn't know what was going. I mean, I could see it was daytime. I could see it coming, and it had hail with it too. It was interesting.
Yeah, some of the storms are really impactful up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so a fun question. I like to think of 47 or Shelton.
47.
47?
Non-stop? Never
Yeah.
Shelton?
Shelton's too bumpy. It tears your car up.
I took it today.
I can agree with that, but I take it every time.
No, I don't. I took it today because I was behind the school bus that stopped the whole way.
Yeah.
And I did, and I was really mad at myself because it was just so bumpy the whole way. It used to be just at the
one side or the other, really.
Yeah, and it was just at the beginning of it. Now it was the whole way.
Well, and then my
they
truck.
need to pave that.
When I drive up over those bumps, even going slow, the truck starts bouncing sideways. I can't really control it.
I was
That's what I'm
bouncing
at.
sideways.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I drive a truck and I take the hill every time. I only go 47 if I'm gonna go visit some KZ Ranch friends or Gold Creek friends.
No, I'll take the pavement all the way.
Yeah.
It is a very bumpy road, and it can definitely get your vehicle loose.
Well, yeah, and I've had people come in the opposite way, and I'm working to get over.
Yeah.
So,
and they come around those corners so fast.
They do.
It does end up sending you veering off one direction or the other.
So we want it paved.
Paving would be good.
Paving would be good.
We'll have to see what it would do to the runoff. The water flow off of the asphalt would probably change some landscapes, but as far as the accessibility, yeah, that'd be great.
It would be very good.
Be easier to plow, I'm sure too.
Yeah. And
47, they say.
And if it was,
Pete's a
and if
47
it was,
guy too.
If it was paved, it would. I know it would be FHA approved all through there. You can get an FHA loan, which is affordable.
Mm-hmm.
On Buffum here, you can't, because they're not maintained.
Yeah, they're hit or miss over where I
Well,
live
they're
too.
not maintained. You can't get an FHA. Do you have an FHA loan?
I got an FHA, but again, it's hit or miss
You
on the
got
area
it.
over there
True.
because 2 properties down from me could
Are
not
not.
be right.
See, but now
So we looked into that as well.
what is really bad is now, because yeah, I know they have the map, but a lot of lenders are turning it down because they made an agreement with the county, so it says partially.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an underwriter, you're not going to okay that loan.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I went through a mortgage company, obviously. That
Well,
had
yeah,
that. Their underwriter was internal,
yeah,
so I'm just not
Yeah.
too sure how they
yeah,
make
they
it all
might
work,
have they
but-
might have did a soft look at that, but you said
But I
there
am
are
happy.
some streets.
Yeah, I am happy that it all went through.
Good.
It's a great
Better
area.
ask your questions.
Oh no, that's fine.
That's for discussion.
Yeah.
So people out there can get to know you guys on a different level where they might not get these answers.
I guess
I mean, we might only get 20 views on the podcast, but if that's 10 people that could just know about the board meetings or be informed about you guys are great people to Pete and I, so don't forget that.
so. I was gonna ask the last easy question. I guess what do you love most about Harris Park? I know you've only been here 4 years. You said. What do you maybe have heard that you miss that has gone away possibly? But I guess what do you love most about Harris Park primarily?
The community, and this is the first year that we've really been involved because we were so busy working. We work off of the mountain for employment, and then on weekends we were busy working. So this year we went to Huck Finn, and that was a lot of fun. We don't have children, and the grandkids aren't here, so but it was fun, and I'm so looking forward to a taste of Harris Park.
Yeah.
That to me is
Amen.
what community is about, and
Yeah.
if we can do, somebody was talking community garden, and the kickball is just awesome. This is exciting to me that we get out and we play.
I like that.
Yes, it's important. Just everything that we can do to get the community together, especially for these
Mhm.
guys' age here. I mean, 8 years old to the youth group age even. Just these kids need something to be involved in, or else it's just gonna end up in trouble.
Exactly.
No, I agree with that. I like the community involvement around here.
Simon, you got some questions?
I do. Are you done with some entertainment questions? Mine are more board related, community involved, whatever we want to talk about.
Well, I have a few maybe just to introduce kind of the board questions for you, Cal. Just obviously this is your first, I guess, tenure on the board, being the president. I guess what did you foresee being opportunities being on the board, and what do you continue to see being opportunities and possibly downfalls as being the president of the board?
Well, the the only downfall is the amount of time it takes. But the reason I ran was because I just thought that we needed more continuity in the community. There was a lot of it seemed like bickering back and forth at the meetings, and nothing ever got done. And I just kind of felt like that if we could get a board together that could communicate and understand that when people disagree, it doesn't mean that they hate you. It just means that you can agree to disagree. I felt like we could get more done, and it seems to be working out well. So,
I'm with you.
Amen. Yeah. I've seen again in the handful of board meetings that I've been to. There's been tension.
mm-hmm.
I feel and I understand that it's been minimized from the past, but most of all, just you can see progression through each meeting, and it's just done through conversating with each other. So.
Right. And what's really interesting to me is before, it was very obvious that there was two sides to every issue, and it was very obvious to which side people belonged.
Mm-hmm.
And now you can see people that were on different sides of issues coming together and talking, brainstorming, not saying that they always agree, but they're working together. And that's really all we wanted. So.
Not quite united yet, but created the union at least to where there is potential here.
Yeah.
Sweet. You got anything else there, Pete?
No, maybe one or two, but I'm going to feed off what your questions are.
Well, one of the things I want to say too is, there's been a lot of people involved in this. It's not just me. We've got 5 people on the board that are very willing to work together. We've got people in the community that have toned down their rhetoric. I mean, everybody deserves a pat on the back for this. It's not one person.
Absolutely.
It's the community coming together, and that's what we want. Is we want a united community. So.
Oh, agreed. It's so far it's been a wonderful turnout of exactly what you're talking about. And your position to us is so big, obviously, because ultimately there is an authority position there to where you. I mean, it does take a board to run this community for
Right,
sure, but
right.
I mean, your authority and your position definitely supersedes the BS, if you will.
Well, I don't know that I see it that way. I just see people trying to work together, and that's what we need to do is together.
Yeah, absolutely. We couldn't agree more.
He comes from a very strong military family, and he comes from a large family, and it has to be run orderly. If not, it's just total chaos. So I think he's learned a lot from his uncles and how to respect people, but how to also take charge.
Sure.
To let them have their say and try to work with it, but definitely can take charge and say, okay, let's get order.
That's good. I mean, delegation is also
It's a must.
It's not just a must, but it is a skill. I mean, a lot of people do struggle with delegating, and I don't know how much delegating there is to be done up here on the board, being that it takes a board to have a meeting even.
Well, there's a lot to do, and we've talked about recreation. You talked about the dam.
Oh yeah.
And
There's a lot. Yeah, Firewise committee, the rec committee,
yeah,
dam
there's
committee.
a lot.
There's
and
just a whole bunch going on up here right now.
yeah.
And again, that's what this whole thing is about. Outside of just getting the personal interviews, the intention of the podcast itself is strictly just to be informative and help people get some more messages out there, just so it's transparent,
Well, when you delegate, there's a couple things you have to do. You have to realize that you can't do it all yourself, and then you have to assemble some people together that are capable of the job,
Competent enough. Sure.
and then you play to their strengths.
Mhm.
You've got one person that's good at accounting or PowerPoint or whatever. When that need arises, you call on that person. You got somebody else, like in our situation now, we've got 2 gentlemen that are very, very knowledgeable on the dam. And so you put them on the dam committee and let them teach you, and that's what's happening is these 2 guys, Steve Edelman and Steve Murphy, they've not always agreed on everything. They've been on opposite sides a lot, but they work together. They understand that when they disagree, all that means is that we need to do more brainstorming.
Sure.
And so if you can get people that are willing to work together, and you can tap their strengths.
Yeah, and it's amazing, and it feeds into what we were just talking about. Is it sounds like people are, whether they agree to disagree or disagree, it sounds like people are given the opportunity to listen. And I mean, really, that's the only way conversation goes anywhere. So whether they agree that they're disagreeing and they're still willing to conversate in another way to reach a solution, I mean, somebody's listening. So that's just a big part of it.
And they not only get a chance to listen, but they get a chance to speak. And when they get a chance to speak, they've already had a chance to listen to somebody else speaking, and it just seems like it feeds off itself, and the ones that have already spoken are now listening.
Yeah, and when you're speaking, it comes off a lot easier to you when you know somebody's listening.
Well, most people don't listen. They sit there waiting for their chance to rebut what you're saying.
Absolutely.
And if you can get people to just talk to each other and share their ideas and accept that we're not always going to agree,
Yep.
that's where you win.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Most people just they listen to reply
Right.
instead of to understand.
And I think we're getting past that now. So.
Yeah. Amen. Okay, well, I've got a few questions, Cal. We've kind of touched on the first couple of them. What made you want to run? You did mention. What kind of changes did you think that you could bring to the community while running? If you want to reiterate on that, but I feel like you have touched up on that a little bit.
I just felt like that there were things that needed to be done in the community that weren't getting done because people were not listening to each other. And I just felt like that, well, for example, this dam project, if we don't fix the dam, we're going to lose it. And
Wow.
I went to meetings for 9 months watching people bicker about why we shouldn't do the dam the way that you're saying we should.
Mm-hmm.
And I just figured if we could get some people together that were more focused on getting it fixed than rebutting other ideas of how to fix it.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're doing. You know,
We're coming together.
we've got again Steve Murphy and Steve Edelman. They were heavily involved in the repair on Dam 2, and so they've got a wealth of knowledge there, and so
Sure.
you tap into that.
Yeah, and I mean, it would be unwise not to use what they've learned
Right.
and spent their time to
Right.
retain.
And you've got Mercedes Sarsawan, who is an accountant, and she's up on the state laws as far as recreational money use and things like that. So she's a big benefit there.
She is.
And you've got Beth Bratz, who just wants to help.
Yeah.
You know, and she's willing to do whatever.
And she's a serious helper.
She's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever she can, she definitely dips in to do whatever she can. And her husband as well. Very great people.
Right, and then one of the pleasant surprises for me on this dam committee is that for the last 2 to 3 meetings, Buddy's been showing up. You know, he's not on the committee, and he doesn't want to say. He just wants to come and participate and listen.
Donate his time and volunteer.
Yeah,
to be
and so
there.
he's just there to
That's
see what's
awesome.
going on and maybe give some input. But you know, we have to be careful because if you have 3 board members together, then it's an illegal meeting.
Correct.
But right now, we've only got the 2 of us. If a third one shows up, we'll have to exclude them. So
And what was that rule? I mean, while we're informing people on that, but was it 3 members or more?
yeah, it's 3 or more because 3 is a majority because
Okay.
there's 5 members.
I got you.
So if you have 3 together, you've got a majority, and you can't have that.
Without a board, without an
Yeah.
official board.
Right. For example, I can send out an email to all of the other 4 board members, but if any of them reply all, that's considered a meeting. So if I send out an email to the board and they want to reply, then they can either reply to just me, or they can reply to Gail and have her to reply to everybody. Gail's the administrator.
Yeah.
So she can reply to everybody, it's fine, but if I reply to everybody, or if any other board member does, it's illegal.
Wow.
It's really kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
I mean, there's, I'm sure just like anything else in life, there's a lot of gray rules and,
I think there's reasons for it because
Oh,
what
I'm
happens,
sure.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I mean you can obviously see it because people get together
Yeah, it'll be
and then they
favored.
go, okay, we're all
Sure.
gonna vote this way,
sure, it'll be
right?
favored eventually.
Sure.
I could see that.
But to come out and get knowledge, that's what it's all about, you know, like Buddy coming out. Just to get the knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you may see something one way and you go to this meeting thinking that your way is it.
Yeah.
And then you
And
find
we
out,
all-
just like Rosanna Dana.
That's right.
Never mind.
That's right. And it seems to be natural for most of us to think that way. You know, cynical. We've thought it's almost like we've premeditated our
Right.
ideas or our replies
Right.
to a scenario that might come up in a conversation. However,
Right.
Yeah, if they say this, I'll say that.
yeah,
Right.
no, exactly.
Yeah,
And
you know,
it does seem like it's not just Harris Park.
Yeah,
our
no,
whole
that's
country
everybody.
is this
That's
way, and
everybody.
it's,
Yeah,
it's pretty defeating.
it's
but-
called borrowing trouble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because
no,
what you think they're going to say, they never say.
yeah, absolutely.
So, anyway,
Yeah, no, great topic. You touched base on the dam over at Lake One and how serious of an issue it is. Feeds right into my next question, which I did write word for word actually on this one. We would like to know on a scale from 1 to 10, so this community does know how serious the situation is. 10 being very serious. What is the risk of us losing Lake One due to the dam repair that needs to take place?
well, that's 2 questions in one. First of all, the seriousness of the dam problem is a 10. The likelihood of us losing it depends on if we can get it fixed. Tim Buckley, who's on the state water board, and he has control over this, told me he could drain it right now if he wanted to because
Sure.
of the situation it's in.
Yeah.
And so,
Well, they're the authority having jurisdiction out here then.
yeah, they are. And he also told us that he wants a plan in place by November 1.
Wow.
And so we've got to have a plan together and email it to him by the end of this month, which we will have. We've moved quite a bit in the last 3 weeks. We've had contractors come out and give us estimates. We've had the same contractors tell us some of the things that we can do to lower the costs, and some of the things that they're willing to help us do to lower the costs. But it's still going to be a $200,000 bill.
Understood.
And so we're trying to get a grant from Park County. If we don't get that grant, then it's a 10 all the way around. We'll lose
Sure.
we'll lose the dam, we'll lose the lake, all that. So what will happen is the state will just come in and say, okay, this drain pipe is leaking. We're concerned that it's going to start eroding away the dam. So out of safety, you have to drain this dam till you fix that.
Or will that be all the way or below a certain point of which is leaking?
They would drain it down to where it's just a stream through there. And
So it'd still be able to flow then? So there's
the
no
water,
algae
they have to let the water
toxins build
flow.
up, right.
Yeah, we can't store water.
Is that for leasing then?
No, we're not leasing. We don't want to lease. But we can't hold water. We're allowed so much water in our lakes. Anything beyond that, we have to let go.
Okay.
And the state monitors that.
Okay.
And so if we drain the lake, what'll happen is it'll just be a creek in a great big lake bed. And it could come to a point where the state's going to say, okay, it's been this long since you've had any water in there. If you don't do something about it by this amount of time, then you're going to lose your water storage rights. An example is
Which is a source of income for our community, is that?
it is because they sell fish badges and stuff like that, so they make money off of that. And it's for the board to keep operating. It's a nonprofit board. But it's more the aesthetic value. You know, it's a beautiful lake,
Absolutely.
and it's a lot of fun to go out there and fish and
Even just walk around.
yeah, just walk around.
Yeah,
and,
the sunsets that go over that lake are just
Yeah.
amazing.
Oh, the moon!
Right.
One
Yeah.
night, the moon glistening off that lake.
Just lights up that whole
Yeah.
that whole canyon there.
yeah, and we have a lake here that's been dry for 10 years, and
Is that over here behind the
no,
football
it's
field,
over.
or-
It's
That's the
over.
Bartimus one then?
No, that's the Bartimus has a well. That's another lake, and I can't think of the name of it, even though we
Well, I think
talked about
there
it.
was a. Am I wrong on that, Pete? Or was there a
Tate, it's a Tate Lake.
Is that the one where the original Huck Finn days?
I don't know, but I know that it's been
Derby?
dry for a long time, and the state told us if we don't do something about it in the next couple of years, they're just going to say, okay, you're no longer allowed to store water there because you haven't used it for 10 years.
Right.
The same thing will happen at Dam 1. If they drain that and we can't get it fixed over time, they'll just say, okay, you can never fill it again.
Right.
So
I'll have to look into that.
So on that note, everybody, it's a very serious situation. 10 sounds very serious to me. So I would just anybody listen and do what you can to.
come to the board meetings
Yeah, there you go.
every second Saturday at 9 o'clock in the
Nice, Cal. Good
community
shout out
center.
there.
Come to
Great
the board
shout
meetings,
out.
find out what's going on in your community.
Absolutely, and we'll make sure that we mention that in the podcast portion as well. That,
Very good. Very good.
That those people need to.
Community breakfast is good too.
Yeah, I mean every community event that we can again inform people, the more that they're going to make themselves aware of the situation that we're all in here together.
Community breakfast is every last Saturday at 9. I'm sorry, 8 to 10.
8 to 10. That's
Yeah,
right.
the last Saturday of every month.
And one thing I learned about the breakfast, because it's absolutely delicious, but they didn't serve eggs. If you bring eggs, they'll make them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay!
No, and they're just a hard-working
They
volunteering
are
group.
awesome.
Yeah, they're
It's
just
awesome.
this
The
whole
food
place is
delicious.
just wonderful. Yeah. All right. I got. What are some concerns that you have now that you did not have, or that you were not thinking of prior to running?
I knew nothing about the dam problems. I didn't even know that there was a board until my neighbor ran for it. And so that's when I became aware that there was a board. That was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I think a lot of the community has no idea what's going on. I don't think that they know that those lakes belong to Harris Park. I don't think that they know that they need maintained. I think they believe they belong to the state, which they do not.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot of confusion up here as far as
Right.
the water and the roads. And
Well, and you know, I don't want to get off on a negative tangent, but I think that there's some powers in. We know the state wants to control all the water, and I think that they would love to take over up here. I've been told that the city of Denver wants our water rights,
Sure.
and so I think that there's possibly some things going on in the background that people are trying to make that happen. But if we can keep our board intact and keep people involved, it's not going to happen. So,
Stay strong.
yep.
Okay. Cal, what is your favorite event that has come up or been put together within the community since you have taken over as board president?
Well, I really enjoyed Huck Finn Days and the little kid fishing derby.
Yeah.
I know that there was a kickball game that was not organized by the community. That was organized by some special individuals, but I didn't attend that because I was very tired. But I heard that went over, so that would have been fun to go to. I'd like to go to one of those. But I think for me right now, it's Huck Finn Days. I'm anxious to see how tomorrow's going to go with the Taste of Harris Park. I think that's going to be fun.
As am I.
And you're going to see more of that. We've got people on the Recreation Committee that are very
All
talented.
wheels turning right now.
And they want to have more community involved things. So, it used to be, to my knowledge, Huck Finn was the only thing that they did every year.
Mm-hmm.
But now, we're having a Taste of Harris Park. And even though it's not community board oriented, got kickball going on. There's just a lot of things happening. People are getting involved and they're happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I wish somebody would do an exercise class in the community center.
I believe with that small request right there, it won't be long before you see that up
I
here.
hope that
There's
happens.
plenty
I
of
really
people up
do.
here that are into that type of lifestyle
Yeah,
as far
and
as
we need to be indoors a
the
lot
health
of
and
the
the
time.
fit life. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I would myself would push something for it.
I would love it.
I'm not so much on the cardio side of it all, but I would definitely participate. But there's plenty of people up here that would absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, Pete and I could easily push through this little podcast thing. And again, people will comment and they'll review and they'll,
Sure, and there's
we'll get some feedback and some input on it for sure.
Instructors out there that I'm sure live around
Mm-hmm.
here, or or even if we put a video on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Walk it out.
There we go. Leslie Sands.
What about you, Tina? What is your favorite event that has come up here or been put together since?
I'm really looking forward to tomorrow.
Okay.
I really am. But Huck Finn, of course. And again, we haven't been as involved. We haven't done bingo, and we know it's a lot of fun. But
It really
us
is.
working on our property the way we have all the years that we've been here, we're too tired by the time it
Sure.
comes around.
Well, between Pete and I, we're gonna have to get you guys out next season.
I know, we're gonna have to.
We got out a good handful of times this year, and it was just a spectacular time every single week.
Well,
Good crowds, good laughing.
Yes.
They got
Chips and
great
cheese.
nachos. Yeah,
awesome.
they're like $1.50.
Yeah.
Just man, it's a great time.
Yeah.
Especially knowing that these people are all your neighbors. It's not like
Yeah.
they
Most
come
of them
from
are.
everywhere, like down in the city. I mean, these people are really Harris Park
and-
family.
Yeah, it's fun, and I've really enjoyed the people that I've met. Just going to the meeting,
Yeah. Agreed.
yeah.
Just everybody is unique, and there's so much diversity up here. We have a superpower up here. We just gotta learn how to come together and use it as the community.
Yeah.
Sweet. I've got 2 questions left, and due to a few minutes ago doing it with you guys, I now know. But have you participated, or do you participate in the weekly howl at 9 p.m. on Fridays?
Yeah, we get the neighborhood dogs going, and then we just sit back and listen.
That's correct. As we just heard, we heard the big hound out there howling with us. It is a phenomenal little thing that
It's been so much
Pete
fun.
and I actually are fortunate to say that we started the idea or whatever. But
Love it.
an idea is only as good as it goes. I mean, it takes the community to howl, which is what makes the howl.
Well,
So it really is an epic event every single week,
It really
just
is.
through participation.
We got to do something special for New Year's.
Oh, I'm sure we can make that happen.
Yeah.
Just comes into
idea.
talking about it, but again,
Yeah, you
we
can
got
call the
great
big-
ideas up here, great brains, and great, just all of it just creates great opportunity for the
Yeah,
next
we got to have a
the
howling.
next awesome idea.
Call it the New Year's howling.
Oh, nice.
I like it.
The howl.
The howling, yes.
The Halloween.
No.
Howling.
for New Year's. We
Yeah.
gotta do something.
It's a happening, but it's a howling.
Oh, happening.
Yeah.
I'm on it now. I got it.
I think we need to work on it, but anyway.
Yeah.
I got one more. So far to this day, do you feel like you'll be running for re-election as a board member, president, any position or seat on the board?
No.
Okay.
No, I will be 66 when I'm eligible to run again, and I think I'll be done.
Yeah. I mean, there's no shame in that. You know, it
Yeah.
sounds like some might say the mind's made up already, but that comes through experience, that comes through wisdom, that comes through confidence, that comes through a whole bunch of aspects of your own life to where you know yourself best. And I don't think anybody's going to hold it against anybody, you know. I feel
what
like
do you guys
you're
need
you're
to
playing a
run?
big part in this community right now, and whether it's for 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, for
Yeah.
the next 4 years, you play a serious part in this community, and whether it's another 4 years or just the 4, your 4 years matter to us, sir. So
Thank you.
we appreciate your contribution and your willingness to make this a better place. Like I said,
I accept
I'm raising,
donations.
I'm raising my
Accept them.
children up
Go
here,
fund
so
me, Cal Stevens.
it's extremely important to me. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'll accept donations and I'll put them towards the dam.
Nice. Let's do it. I'll donate the first $5
Yeah.
to go to the dam.
Just
Let's
give it to
go,
Gail.
baby. What about you, Pete? You got anything to close out this
No.
interview with Pete?
Just
Or
thank
with
you.
Cal? Sorry.
Thank you, Cal and Tina, for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we also thank you guys for having us over for dinner. It was
Oh.
a swell meal. We appreciate the invite.
So you guys need to run.
There's
Well,
no
Yeah,
election.
maybe
we
not
got the
need
chuckle,
to.
we got the
Need to
chuckle.
Consider it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a small discussion.
There's
I
one
don't think
seat
it's
that's
been
coming up in a
anything-
year and a half.
I don't think it's been anything bigger than a small discussion. You know.
Because that's Liz's, right? Is
Actually, there's 2 seats
that
because
Liz and
Liz
Buddy.
and Buddy will be up in 2 years. So there's 2 seats available in, a year and a half from now.
Right. We're
And
6
then,
months in.
and then 2 years after that, there'll be 3 more.
Wow.
So,
I think there's going to be a lot of good voices.
actually, 2 years after that, there'll be 5 more because those 2 seats that are up now are only 2-year seats.
also be up again. That's
Right.
right.
You know, and what we're seeing in our political world nowadays, they're saying, who's going to want to be judged to go through the nonsense that you go through?
It's a
and
serious
it's great to
consideration.
see this community come together because no, there should be no nonsense. We live in a beautiful place,
Absolutely.
and yes, we need to value what we have.
Yeah, and I think the more that we do that, the proof will be in the pudding.
Absolutely.
It starts with support. You know,
Yes.
support can come in so many ways, such as listening. Number one.
Yes.
I mean, you're supporting somebody when you're giving them a minute to listen to their voice. On top of that, it's the ideas. It's the whole not shutting them down right away, but at least consideration. There's so many words that go with it.
Exactly. Just to be able to ask a question, why, if you don't understand. My dear sweet husband thinks sometimes.
And most of all, not be scared.
Well,
not be
yeah.
scared to be judged of why you're
Right.
asking why or
Right.
what people are going to say.
Because
Because
I may ask him why, and sometimes he thought it was I was arguing or disagreeing
Sure.
with him because it was a no.
Mhm.
I wanted. It's not that I couldn't accept the no. I wanted to know why because maybe we could do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The reasoning.
sure,
The
understanding. Understanding.
Understanding.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, coming together and having fun, really, and not thinking about all of the work and all these things, just coming together like tomorrow and having some good food.
Doesn't it put a whole bunch of stuff at ease?
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, it really does.
It's
You-
Food.
lovely.
More or less, it turns it into, we're looking forward to this now.
Yes, I'm so looking
Instead
forward
of
to
like,
tomorrow.
it's kind of good, it sounds fun. This kind of like, we're actually looking forward to this. So
Yeah,
I
I
mean, it's,
really am. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
Awesome.
there's one more thing I want to say. I wish I would have said a lot earlier, but we need roughly $200,000 for the dam. In the last election, they sent out 800 ballots. If those 800 ballot recipients would each contribute $300, that's $200,000
Yeah.
on the
240.
nose. Yep.
Yeah, we'd have the tax money to cover it and everything.
Well,
But here's the deal.
yes,
One
it's got to be
person may
private
be
money.
able to do $1,000. Another person may only be able to do $5.
No, sure.
You know, and,
Yeah.
and so
It's
that's
less than a
just
buck a
it.
day, though.
And I just
per
said something,
household.
actually, I wanted to correct that because I had said something about the taxes too, but I guess just for my clarification, is Harris Park not tax exempt when it comes to the state issued funds?
So Harris Park Metropolitan District is a nonprofit, but we do receive tax monies from the state.
No, as far as paying taxes.
That would be a Gail question,
Okay.
but I don't think we have to pay taxes.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Gail, she'll be on here soon.
And the other thing is, if
Gail, we're
you
coming for you, Gail.
if you make a contribution
We
to the
got
dam,
questions.
it is tax deductible.
Correct. And that's, I feel like the only reason that could be is if the recipient is tax exempt.
Yeah, the recipient has to be Harris Park Municipal District, Metropolitan District.
Mm-hmm.
If you make a check out of them, it's fully tax deductible.
Yep. Okay. Which also kind of answers my question, I guess, as far as the tax exempt,
Right.
because you wouldn't get that refund back if the people
Right.
should have been paying it. So
Yeah.
excellent. Sweet. Cal, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Cal Stevens, everybody.
Yay.
Harris Park Metropolitan District Water Board President.
Harris
How's that
Park.
for a title?
Yeah, there's no water
Is there
board.
a business card that says all that?
No. It just says HPMD.
I like the acronyms everywhere. Well, Cal's got to be to bed early, or he's got to get to work early anyway. So.
Yep.
Good night, Harris Park. There's Cal Stevens. Thanks again, Cal.
You're welcome. Turn it off.